Bill Honey from Ruby, Alaska. It's up on the Yukon, middle Yukon.
One of the pilots said there were, what, 7 of them, 7 or 8 of those?
Nikolai, I think.
I'm Dick Walmarth. I'm from Red Devil.
This bicyclist.
Oh, yeah, about 10 of them, yeah, 11.
Iditanuts.
Iditanuts, yeah, they should be coming tomorrow, yeah.
Ron Reardon, I just moved up here from Idaho, living in Red Devil.
And about 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, here comes a guy on that bicycle.
Well, I'm one of the trail veterinarians to help take care of the sled dogs.
And I tell you, he looked to me like he was more dead than alive.
And I run the first Iditaroad. That was the first winter.
And he had that, you know, that real thin, that is...
Working with Richard Wilmarth and his gold mine, and came over here to Iditaroad for a couple of weeks to watch the race come through. Set up a little camp we did, and having a good time.
And he had tennis shoes.
They're pretty ambitious. I don't know, that seems like a long ways to go under these conditions. I think I'd rather trust my fate to the dogs.
He spent 3 days in bed recovering.
Holy cow.
Biking, I don't know about that. I used to cross-country ski, so I can understand that. We need to, I guess it's a challenge, the walk and the everything, you know. Good enduring challenge for some human to do.
He was on his last wind when he arrived. He dropped the bike, staggered in, and spent 3 days in bed.
I don't think I would trust to the Mother Nature to provide a nice hard trail all the time.
And then they stand there applauding this nonsense.
Yeah. I think it's a lovely town. This is the first time I've been here, and I like it here.
So I was standing there too, and they looked at me. I wasn't applauding. I said, I have more respect for a guy sitting on the flagpole.
What color do you like, Tor? Do you like?
I'll be around Alaska for quite a while, probably. It's a place I've always thought of coming up to, and now that I'm here, there's a lot of country to see.
It is dangerous.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in the Arctic, and we were taught respect for the elements. And they're flaunting a disrespect that is going to backfire one of these days.
Things to this point hadn't necessarily gone to plan. Ken Chase dropped me in the historical ghost town of Iditarod, Alaska, population 0. Iditaroad was once a bustling hamlet of more than 20,000. That was 100 years ago. Today, it served as the halfway point of both the renowned Iditaroad sled dog race and the relatively obscure Iditasport Impossible Adventure Race. Both races followed a thin white line known as the Iditaroad Trail from Knik, Alaska to the fabled gold rush town of Nome. 1,100 miles of Alaskan backcountry, 1,100 miles of Alaskan history and culture. My stay here in Iditaroad was intended to last a day, wait for whatever Iditasport adventure racers remained, get footage and fly out. I waited for 3 days. There were no adventure racers to be seen.
We also saw 3 of the Iditasport Extreme bicycle riders on their way over here, and they turned around halfway to Iditarod. It was getting kind of deep. They said it was about 4 foot of snow they'd had, and they'd had to push their bikes pretty much all the way.
My adventure actually began 14 days prior to my prolonged stay in Iditarod. I arrived in Anchorage, Alaska on February 22nd, 2 days before the start of the 2001 Iditasport Adventure Race, a race considered by many to be the most difficult and dangerous human-powered event in the world. My early arrival gave me time to familiarize myself with some of the 100 or more men and women who had volunteered, in fact paid, to race on bike, skis, or foot on a trail traditionally built for dog sleds.
If we're not ready now, we're in big trouble.
Well, I'm Bill Merchant from here at Earth B&B. I'm entered it in the Extreme for my 4th year.
It's so different from all the other adventure races. This one's not exactly a made-for-television kind of race. We don't have the kind of support, the transition teams, the babysitters on the trail. We're more out there all by ourselves, self-supported, minus the drops, which is where we resupply.
Klar, also mein Name ist Stefan Wilda. Ich mache das Jahr am Iditaroad extrem mit.
You know what? I've worked so hard and I've spent so much time on this that I mean, no matter what, I'm going to make it to Nome.
So, mein Name ist Jörg Beinsip, ich bin aus Österreich. Ich laufe das 560 Kilometer Rennen bis McGrath und bin da mit meinem Freund Johann Bratscher. Wir sind zwei Österreicher und wir laufen das Rennen eben 560 Kilometer.
Off camera. Turn the okay. No, everyone's not prepared for this race. And I think Sunday morning should be very interesting.
Feeling good. Bit fresh, but good.
The Iditasport start line felt like a Justice League of the World picnic, an international superhero convention. The racers had discarded their urban attire and transformed into their alter egos. A nervous energy filled the air.
There's about 3 ways you can go. I don't know if they're faster or slower or whatever, but adds a little bit to the fun and stress, I guess.
It looks a bit odd. You get about 3/4 of the way across this lake and then it just turns to sugar.
You guys excited to get out there?
Yeah, at last. I'll be very glad to get down the lake. Ask me again in about an hour though, and I might have a different story.
Mon nom c'est Mathieu Bonnier. J'ai fait déjà une partie de la course en 1998 jusqu'à McGrath.
Nous venons de Grenoble et nous venons skier jusqu'à Nome. Nous allons essayer de faire l'Iditaroad complète. Voilà.
So how'd you feel about the start?
I thought it was fucked.
Meet Dan Bull, Iditasport race organizer and originator. He guaranteed a start line, a finish line, and a t-shirt. Dan is the man responsible for the lives of over 100 adventure racers. This is the same man who openly admitted that the death of one of his participants would be good for the exposure of his race.
Oh, sorry. Don't use that. Don't use that.
So are you feeling good now that everyone's off?
Oh yeah, this is great. This is the best start we've ever had.
What do you think attributed that?
Ever had. Ever had.
What do you expect out there?
Probably a fun, real first few days, and then reality will hit, and people will start freaking out, and Alaska winter will get them.
The Iditasport adventure race is broken down into 3 separate distances. The Iditasport 130, covering 130 miles to Finger Lake, the 350-mile Iditasport Extreme to McGrath, and the longest and most challenging race, the Iditasport Impossible, which continues over 1,100 miles to Nome. Racers participating in each race travel at the same time and are eligible for prize money at each stage, depending on their placement overall and in each of the 3 disciplines: bike, ski, or foot.
I'm the official sweeper! Nobody knows that, but I am! Once I find the balance, I'll be alright. See you later. I've run this thing before, so I'm okay. No, I'll be alright.
The first leg of the Iditasport race followed the Iditaroad Trail 30 miles to Flathorn Lake. There, racers were forced to stop for a mandatory campout. At sunset, the first competitors filed into the makeshift checkpoint. For some, it was a healthy warm-up. For others, it was a taste of what was to come.
Now I know what I got myself into again.
Racers continued to arrive throughout the night, some completing the distance in less than 4 hours, others in over 15.
G, you are right here.
Oh, that's okay.
The campout is intended to test competitors' preparedness. One's clothing, sleeping bag, and gear have to prove suitable for multiple nights in harsh Alaskan conditions.
Pretty tough for me in the beginning, especially. I thought it would be like flat and nice for like 5 kilometers and just to get a little bit into the rhythm. So I was struggling for like 10 miles.
I was talking to Dave and Greg if I should go that way. And then I was talking to Bill and he was sending me the other way. But you know what? I mean, the first day doesn't mean anything. I saw it as a good warm-up, you know, to get ready for the week.
Looks like a death camp here, eh? This is Alaska now.
The leaders make preparation to leave. Among them are veterans Bill Merchant, Gil Jellin, and Mike Curiak, last year's winner of the Iditasport Impossible to Nome.
Just put your head down and think pleasant thoughts like pretty girls, chocolate-covered raisins. Think about Hawaii just a little bit. Every time you get fucked off by a drift, think about breaking waves and surfing them in. And then you wake up and you realize where the hell you are. Got 1,000 miles to go, and I guess you just keep pedaling.
Just be patient, man. A lot of people are going to burn out today.
The rest of the competitors leave the campout based on their arrival time the night before. From now on, everyone is on their own, stopping only when and where they want. The trail to the second checkpoint follows the Yetna River 25 miles north of Yetna Station. The snowfall did not bode well. Already less than 24 hours from the start, racers were dropping out. Bikers are pushing, foot racers are fighting the soft snow. Skiers have an early advantage.
It's really soft, man. I was hoping to run more, but not this year.
This is a bad day. Can only be followed by a good day, though, I hope.
Well, my name is Greg Blackwell. I'm from Fernie, BC, 25 years old. This is going to be my third attempt at this race. I did the race to Nome last year and did the 350-mile race the year before.
Greg Blackwell, third last year in the race to Nome, manages to ride and challenge the likes of Bob Baker, an Iditasport veteran.
Hi, I'm Gil Jellin. I'm 61, and this is my 18th Iditasport.
I'm Sue Stewart, and I live in Fairbanks, and I'm one of those bike nuts you typically see riding around Fairbanks, and here I am now, heading out into that.
From Yetna, the trail virtually disappeared beneath the falling snow. Competitors wander in search of trail markings whilst avoiding open water hazards on the river.
That was not fun.
So rough going?
Well, what do you think? Think maybe it was? Think it might have been?
It didn't look that bad.
It didn't look that bad. That's because you're on a snow machine. You started doing some human-powered stuff.
Yeah, at least we broke the trail for you, big boy.
Yeah, you certainly did.
You want a hamburger? Put your order in right now. He's making hamburgers.
3 bikers from Fairbanks, coaxed by Rocky Reifenstuhl, jump into the lead.
No one else came in?
No, it's the third time you asked me. They still haven't, the answer's still no.
It stabilizes the load.
Kevin, you're gonna follow our tracks?
Yep, I'll be right on your trail.
You're a gentleman?
Got the door?
They have pushed their bikes in knee-deep snow for over 15 hours. Before long, they are back on the trail. Bob Baker arrives shortly after the bike trio departs, followed by Iditasport Impossible bikers Mike Kuriak and Greg Blackwell.
Yeah.
After a quick nap, the veteran skier, realizing his advantage, reluctantly gives chase in the pre-dawn darkness.
Away, right? How you doing?
Good, how you feeling?
Good, good. Nice day, yeah?
By morning, the snowstorm has passed. Slowly, the remaining racers file off the Yetna River to the Skwetna checkpoint.
My name is Andrew Matalonis from Whitefish, Montana, and I'm doing the 130 on foot, which apparently is the faster mode in this race.
My name is Alicja Baraona. I'm native of Poland, Canadian citizen, living presently in New York, and I'm married to a Chilean man. I'm completely exhausted. What is the latch? The red building? You know, I think instead 32 miles, I ran like 50 miles.
With a short nap and a quick meal, the aggressive racers are back on the trail, using pre-packed drop bags to replenish their supplies.
Okay, guys, wish me good luck.
Good luck.
So far, no woman came, no? So if I will keep up, I may defend my championship. Is that your plane? Okay.
My ass was kicked.
The casualties soon follow.
Unbelievable.
I've scratched.
Aww.
I'm tickled about it. It was getting awful. I couldn't handle it.
Since 1989 to last year, any attempt at this trail to Nome was unsuccessful until last year. And so I guess I'm not... Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? I'm not going to push my bike for 400 miles.
From Skwentna, the Iditaroad Trail continues to follow the lowlands to Shell Lake. The conditions are not improving, and foot racers and skiers continue to gain the advantage, while the bikers are feeling the effects of continued pushing. Dan Bull becomes a target for the racers' frustration.
What do you do if you see Dan Bull rolling around on the ground? You shoot him again. Yeah, I'm just kind of being mellow right now, and knowing that I'm gonna get to Shell and have a break, ice my feet, hang out, and let it solidify a little bit. I'll be able to ride tonight.
15 miles later, suffering a torn tendon, Mike Kuriak scratches in Shell Lake. As night falls on the third day, Rocky, Kevin, and Doug remain together. Bob Baker, capitalizing on the unrideable conditions, has already passed them and claimed a first-place finish at Finger Lake in the Iditasport 130. Bob Baker decides to stop in Finger Lake. The bikers claim the next 3 positions 5 hours later. Rocky Reifenstuhl will go on to challenge the 350-mile Iditasport Extreme.
Okay.
But I mean, if you want to make the race better,
okay,
you really ought to get some. I mean, they say we're supposed to be
what
following.
should we do?
Well, they said we're supposed to be following green lap.
Another snowstorm rolls in through the night. The trail is left buried and virtually unrecognizable. Only a handful of racers emerge from the whiteouts.
I don't know where we went. Yeah. This doesn't even look the same to me. I don't know, I think that Frenchman's gonna get lost. He was starting to stop or turn around. It got too wet out there. I thought it was really close, so I didn't worry about it too much. 3 hours longer than I thought. My feet aren't going to be pretty sight.
The majority of racers, those who did not bivouac on the side of the trail, embarked from Shell Lake Lodge to battle the 25 miles to the Iditasport 130 finish line. The determined and patient push on.
Maurizio Doro di Arco, ciao. Sono qui per l'Idita Impossible. Dopo 2 anni dall'Idita Extreme e ho grande entusiasmo e questa volta sono veramente cattivo.
Io sono Egizama, amico di Maurizio, partecipiamo all'Idita Impossible, abbiamo già fatto l'Extreme, pensiamo di metterci sui 22 giorni sperando che vada tutto bene, ok?
Others have dropped out. Injured, frustrated, overwhelmed by the weather and poorly marked trail. Of the more than 120 racers who started, only 70 arrive at the Iditasport 130 finish line. Team Peak, the only team in the race, struggle with their bikes, the first of 3 disciplines they must complete before finishing in McGrath and the Iditasport Extreme. Bill Merchant snaps his frame in 2 after dodging a tent unwisely pitched in the middle of the trail. He continues on foot. As the racers arrive at Finger Lake and the Iditasport 130 finish line, other racers planning to challenge the longer distances to McGrath and Nome leave at staggered times throughout the next few days.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and trudge up there and hopefully they'll come by making a trail, and then I can wait for the avalanche conditions to get right to go down the gorge. Well, if I knew what I was doing, I wouldn't be here.
What?
If I actually knew, I wouldn't be here. Smart and spend my money and go somewhere tropical in the winter.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Have fun. Be safe.
Are you going on from here?
Yes, I am. I wasn't supposed to, but I am. Because it's a hell of a day and, you know, so far I didn't have the chance to see much about Alaska. It looks like today I'm gonna get a chance to see something more.
Did you feel you had a good race?
Oh, I have great race, and you know, after the 1 day of resting here, waiting for the plane, I feel so great that I could do this again or continue it, but I signed only for 130 miles. I have a good time. It was very tough race, very difficult weather, and I think, in my opinion, it was like survival issues. That's why so many people were forced to withdraw.
Somewhere in the 35 miles between Finger Lake and Rainy Pass, Roberto breaks his own trail and maintains his lead over Rocky.
Who did you see up at the top of Rainy Pass?
The Italian walker, Italian guy.
Yeah.
Fighting
but that walker, when he left for Rhone, there wasn't no trail there yet. He just hitting on the markers that had been put in before, you know.
Tough old dude.
Huh?
Just tough old dude.
Tough. Yeah.
Other racers give chase as the field begins to spread out over the range.
Like usual, long way in.
Roberto has already disappeared into the pass. Behind him is Rocky Reifenstuhl, who who now vomits through the night. A lone marker leads us to Todd Scott. He recuperates within the shelter of a safety cabin before nightfall. The winds intensify, the temperature drops. I can't feel my fingers. Everything shuts down.
Just have dogs you can use.
See, okay. Roberto, then Tim Hewitt. Rocky was out fourth.
Rock says he believes Rick has an ownership of
That early.
unnamed New York business. And he says the lead will
I think Roberto overslept.
He
didn't mean to sleep that
night.
No, I wasn't real scared. Thought I was going to lose a couple toes. But
In Finger Lake, they said he was cutting pieces of meat off and skin off his feet, so I'm sure that's probably what's got him beat down. So.
Going the wrong way.
Well, no, I didn't know how long he would be, but he doesn't sound good.
And walked around in a stupor at about half a mile an hour, and then decided to get hopped off on a bunch of caffeine pills and ibuprofen and pick up the pace. I don't know, it's bad now because the only reason I'm racing is for money. It's not fun anymore.
I'm hoping to ride my bike, and because that's what I trained for. I didn't train for for walking and pushing my bike the whole time. If I had, I would have spent more time in the grocery store, walking around the mall, pushing a shopping cart for training.
Outside Roan, somewhere on Farewell Lake, Greg Blackwell suffers more problems as a seat rack snaps. He briefly carries his gear before finally he is forced to scratch. On Farewell Burn, a stretch of landscape once devastated by fire, Todd Scott hammers through the favorable conditions. He has managed to catch the 3 foot racers, Tim, Tom, and Roberto, who now travel in a pack. Close behind them, Andrew and Alan continue to make time on their bikes.
I'm gonna set you on fire someday. Let's do it.
Pat Irwin rests briefly and leaves Nikolai as the new leader. An amazing accomplishment considering he rides a 1-speed bicycle. Todd Scott passes Rocky on the trail and is second to Nikolai. Rocky, suffering from illness, has faltered and is yet to arrive at the checkpoint.
Yeah, I saw Rocky. He was doing the death march in this large, looks like down warmer thing. It was kind of comical, but he didn't want to talk or anything, so I just kind of went by him, and so it looks like he bonked. So hopefully he'll be okay.
Did you pass him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. About 3 miles from here. I said hi. Hey, what's going on?
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't hear a word.
Really? Oh yeah, because I came up and then I stopped, and then I. But,
I thought it was very strange. I mean, I didn't hear anything, and I couldn't believe that you didn't at least check on somebody when you're passing.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard a word.
Really?
Yeah. I thought it was pretty strange.
No, because then I stalled out, so then I was walking behind you.
You didn't look like you stalled out when you passed me.
The UK bikers arrive in the darkness of morning. They are making ground, but Alan's ankle is suffering in his frozen boots.
From pushing too much.
Within the daylight of day 7, Pat Irwin rides towards McGrath and first place in the Iditasport Extreme.
Don't sleep on the bike coming down the road.
Behind Pat finishes Todd Scott, followed by Alan Sheldon and Andrew Heading.
That was a long ride in. Could you go first? Congratulations. Thank you.
It was really, really bad out there. It was really, really cold, and I was bunking and I didn't have any food left. The only goo I had was frozen, so I had to stop at 22 below and get the stove started.
Mike Estes of Big Lake, Alaska, takes 6th place. Behind him is Bill Shand of Canada in 7th. The first foot racers soon arrive and round out the top 10. They misread the trail and spend an extra 3 hours circling the checkpoint.
In this race, I'm wrong always.
Back in Nikolai, Rocky's condition has not improved.
Acute exercise-induced cold, temperature, bronchitis.
In total, 33 racers arrive in McGrath over the next 4 days.
How are you, Rocky?
Pardon me? No.
We're in McGrath, Alaska, where the opposing team has to fly in to play a high school basketball game.
Well, it was more brutal than I expected. I mean, I was expecting the worst, and it was a step beyond the worst.
Well, it's a crazy, really crazy adventure. It's a lot more than I thought it would be. And it's really potentially it could be a really, really dangerous thing to do. But I enjoyed it. I mean, you know, and I stayed alive. I got all my toes, all my fingers, so I feel pretty good about that.
I'm a farmer. I'm a farmer, a little farmer. But so my training is never stop.
It's been type 2 fun. There are 2 types of fun. There's type 1 fun and type 2 fun. Type 1 fun is you know and you have fun, and you know you're having fun when you're doing it. It's like sex. And type 2 fun is, it's not so much fun until it's over. And that's what Iditasport is. It's a lot more fun when it's over, and you get to talk about all the war stories and what a great time you had.
Kind of tired and unmotivated right now. I feel like I just got off the bike the other day.
You know what I feel too? It was a concern of mine. It's like, before I move on, I want to check in on a few things because it's going to be cold, and I don't trust down for our drops, and I don't want to lose my feet or have to deal with severe, severe injury because, the organizer didn't get his shit together for us.
Where's the starter's pistol? We're gonna rifle out.
The remaining racers, those attempting the Iditasport Impossible, depart for Takotna and Ophir, the first 2 checkpoints en route to Nome.
Good luck. Good luck.
My name's Tom Jarding. I'm in the Iditaroad Impossible race to Nome, 1,100 miles on foot. I'm from Wino, Pennsylvania.
I'm Tim Hewitt. I'm 46 years old from Greensburg, Pennsylvania. I'm an employment lawyer. I have 4 children and a wife that are following me on the internet.
Meanwhile, I fly north to Iditaroad after my guide and his snow machines are shipped home with mechanical problems. From now on, I must hitchhike the trail.
Nice seeing you again.
So what happened?
Just the fault. Never been right since, before I left here it wasn't right really. It just got worse and worse.
Iditaroad, Alaska, population 0. Probably not the most ideal location to make camp. But as I mentioned earlier, you never know who or what you might run into along the Iditaroad Trail. In this case, I found genuine Alaskan hospitality. Without it, I'd be dead. Some local trappers took me in. In a makeshift home, built from the remains of Iditaroad buildings, I was kept warm and fed. In fact, I was served homemade apple pie. I didn't completely realize how fortunate my misfortune was until the end of my second day in Iditaroad. It was nearly midnight. Actually, it was right on the hour. News of the impending arrival of Doug Swingley, the current Iditaroad sled dog race leader and musher poster boy, quickly spread through the camp. I felt like a child waiting up for Santa Claus and his 8 tiny sled dogs. After 12 days, the dogs had finally arrived.
Yeah, okay.
You need a vet for him?
No, he just needs some rest.
What do you think of those people biking, walking, and skiing the trail?
I think they're pretty tough individuals. I'm kind of impressed by them, seeing them on the trail there.
On the morning of day 13, 5 days since we had last seen or heard from each other, the first racers emerge outside Iditaroad. Forced to break their own trail without food or water, Tim Hewitt and Tom Jarding suffer heavily. But they remain positive and seize the advantage of being on foot.
I didn't quite envision Iditaroad to look like this.
Now tell me, really, honestly, what possessed you guys to do this in the first place?
See if we could.
Huh?
Just to see if we could.
Oh yeah, yeah. A challenge of yourself. Yeah, yeah. I can relate to that.
By 2 a.m., the foot duo of Tim and Tom were already back on the trail from Iditaroad to Shagaluk. In Iditaroad, more racers emerge. The Italian biker, Eris Zama, is shattered.
500 miles before one only 100 to bike and 400 only to push. It is impossible to push this condition. We stop here to Iditaroad.
Unbeknownst to Eris, his friend and countryman, Maurizio Doro, is already sleeping in Iditaroad. They have to make an emotional decision on whether to go on. 2 hours outside Iditaroad, 2 more stubborn racers have persevered.
Fuck. That's so hard.
Andrew Heading and Mike Estes team up for survival purposes. They are the last of the racers to arrive. Behind them, frustrated, exhausted, and without a trail or enough food, bikers Pat Irwin, Mike Madden, and Chloe Lanthier, and skier Matthew Bonnier are all forced to turn back to McGrath and end their race. After some well-deserved sleep and gorging, the 4 bikers pack up and prepare to leave Iditaroad, now overflowing with resting sled dog teams. In Shagaluk, Tim and Tom hold a firm grip on the Iditasport Impossible lead. To celebrate, they raid the school pantry. On the trail between Iditaroad and Shagaluk, the 4 bikers swap leads as they continue to predominantly push their bikes. To this point, the bikers have pushed over 400 miles.
Just get ready to leave Shagaluk.
With adequate rest and refueling, Tim Hewitt and Tom Jarding leave Shagaluk for Anvik and an infamous section of the course, the Yukon River. From Anvik, they will travel north along the mighty Yukon almost 150 miles to Kaltag. This is one of the longest stretches without drop bags or the support of local villages.
No!
Andrew Heading and Mike Estes arrive in Shagaluk just before store closing. Without drop bags at this checkpoint, they rely on native stores and Alaskan hospitality. Just past Eagle Island, 90 miles up the Yukon, Tim and Tom maintain their lead over the four bikers.
The mighty Yukon.
Mighty Yukon.
Have you tried it? It's the best moose I've had all day.
The foot racers only rest long enough to devour some moose soup. Approximately 9 hours behind the leaders, a headlamp appears within the darkness of the Yukon. The light belongs to Andrew Heading. He and Mike Estes are alone. They have not seen the Italians for 100 miles.
I'll tell you something, that's not a river. It's an ocean.
Not what I wanted, but yeah, kind of what we expected, I think.
Yeah, I think after yesterday we were expecting maybe we were going to have our luck was going to change.
Oh no.
Paint's chipping on the forks, which means something's flexing and cracking and coming undone.
Andrew and Mike wait too long. Another storm devours the Yukon River and hides the trail. More importantly, Mike's bike is coming apart and might not make it to Kaltag. I discover the walkers have named their sleds, a less common symptom of sleep deprivation.
I fear my blisters are infected. Tommy had some antibiotics, so I started taking them this morning. This isn't easy.
Well, I think they're one crazy people. But I wouldn't do it, but...
Pretty tough, I say. Good luck, racers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that was just a beast. Does that look like lube to you? Oh, smoky cheddar mashed potato. God, if I'd known I had those here, I'd have been here an hour earlier. I'm really glad I put in some sparkling mandarin orange, artificially flavoured gelatin dessert. It's what I've been craving all day.
There's a few cracks starting to appear, so that's not good, considering the distance we have to go. Still.
My name's Richard Miller. I'm from Kaltag. I weld.
Well, I'm sure it's gonna hold now.
The Italians finally emerge. They will end their race here in Kaltag.
That's a shame, huh?
Good job.
Bravi.
Good job.
Sono dispiaciuto perché ero venuto qua per portare a termine una bellissima competizione molto estrema qui in Alaska, stimando circa 20-25 giorni di gara, ma purtroppo ancora a Kaltag ne mancano 600 di chilometri e probabilmente con queste condizioni ci vorranno altri 10-15 giorni.
Mi sarebbe piaciuto arrivare a Nome, ma bisogna pensare anche alla famiglia, bisogna pensare anche al lavoro e questo mi emoziona. Sarebbe stato anche nelle mie possibilità arrivare a Nome e questo mi dispiace molto perché questa situazione, questo race non lo puoi fare sempre, ti può capitare una volta nella vita e mancare questa volta ti rimarrà sempre un vuoto. In questa gara trovi te stesso, trovi le vere difficoltà che hai nella vita, trovi veramente la forza che hai dentro di te e riesci anche a soffrire molto. Stop.
The foot racers' pace is unrelenting. They march through gusting winds towards the coast. Behind them, the bikers leave at dawn. Before long, with a hard-packed trail and no winds, they are no longer pushing.
Hopefully we're closing in on the runners. But we've been saying that for a week now, so.
But today's pretty good.
It was 2:05, just when they thought their luck was changing.
I think everything's closed.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Now in Unalakleet, after 21 days, and we've got about 250 miles to go, and we've finally caught up with the walkers. I came here first in 1998. We did the extreme then with a mate of mine called Andy, and actually I don't think I can do this.
By the time Andy and Mike leave in the morning, Tim and Tom are already 7 hours along the trail. The two relentless Pennsylvanians managed to reach the stark coastal village of Shaktulak 3 hours ahead of the bikers. They don't expect to keep their lead, but they have yet to relinquish it.
In Shaktulak! I'm at Shaktulak. We have some problems, though. But they know nothing about us at all. They haven't been able to locate any drop bags. They want $35 a head to stay here. I'm a little concerned about what's going to happen. You know, if we would have gotten here and couldn't get in, we'd have been really screwed. But my right leg is pretty bad. I sort of stepped in a hole or something. I'm not exactly sure what, but I've got just a tremendous shin splint that I thought might have been a stress fracture, but I'm not really sure.
Everyone is feeling the effects of the race. The bikers leave ahead of Tim and Tom after the walkers failed to find the trail several hours earlier. From Shaktulak they head north, an exposed 58 miles over pack ice to Koyuk. Once in Koyuk, they will make the turn westward and a final 170-mile push to Nome.
It's good role models to see people that aren't real old going and doing things, or people that are older going through and telling their stories, how they succeeded. Because these kids here, lots of times, they quit when things get tough. And this helps them to see that you don't have to, and that you can if you keep trying. Do great things like walking and riding this far. You know, 1,000 miles, that's a heck of a long ways to walk.
A lot of anxiety about going across the sea ice from everything that we had heard. We really weren't sure how much of a diversion it was going to be, and with my feet having so many problems and legs, I was just really concerned about that trip yesterday, and it went, we had a bad start, got lost, couldn't find the trail. After a couple of attempts, decided to wait for daylight, so we screwed around and lost a lot of time, which caused for, additional concern and stress on us. But then when we got started, we actually had a very good day, maybe about our best day.
The trip along the coast had been gentle thus far. Tales of gusting winds seemed more like myth. Of course, that is always when things turn, especially in Alaska.
Do they call this adventure racing or survival racing?
Oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah!
It's just getting tiring waiting for Nome to come to me.
No matter how bad it is, they'll come around, they'll get better. You just think, oh, how can I do this? How can I do this every day? But you get through it. You just do it 1 foot at a time. You press forward.
We've met many interesting people. It's just, it seems like I know all of rural Alaska right now, and they seem to know about us. I have a maxim that I say, and that is, if you think you can, you're right, and if you think you can't, you're also right. And I know I can do this, so I'm going to be in Nome in a few days.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to do this race is well, my dad's 82, and I want to make sure I've done it for, while he's still around. Because, he was a role model, man, when I was young. He was the hardest worker I ever knew. And I was just to make sure I want to honor him and my mom, because I was raised on a farm in Iowa, and they taught me to dream. When I was growing up, all I used to do is look at books about Alaska. I always wanted to go to Alaska when I was young, and I had the encyclopedias and that. I'd just be going through, checking it all out and that. But my mom says I could always do anything I wanted to. And my dad always says, well, there's a will, there's a way. So for that foundation, I'd like to dedicate this race to both of them. And sort of the tribute to the hard work they put in raising us kids. So I just want to thank Mom and Dad, Leo and Madeline Jarding out in, they're in Wisconsin now, but they're from Iowa. And this one's for you.
Shake your guys' hands because I finally met somebody crazier than me.
What do you think of a picture of somebody pushing their bike on it? Iditaroad.
Andrew and Mike continue to take advantage of the conditions, riding their bikes from Gullivan to White Mountain. But they know they have yet to claim victory in this race. they decide to leave the warmth of indoors and head out at sunset to make some night miles before bivvying out on the trail.
Vital bit of kit. Nardine bottle. Boil up some water before you go to bed. Fill it up with boiling water. Drop it in your sleeping bag. Make a great hot water bottle. Then, middle of the night, need to pee. Drink the water out of the bottle to rehydrate. Then pee in the bottle. So you don't have to get out your sleeping bag. Most critical thing, because you do not want to be getting out your sleeping bag in minus 30 degrees. Then in the morning, chuck it out. And even sometimes remember to wash it out before you then fill it with water again the next night and drink out of it. But I'm sure some people think that drinking your own urine is a good thing, so it probably won't kill you. It hasn't killed me yet. I'm going to enjoy it this morning. Thank you.
I hope that was helpful. I was saying,
thank you
come on,
very much.
come on, slow down. Come on, come on.
Yeah, good job.
I hope that was helpful.
Thanks.
I hope that was really helpful.
Well, I hope you didn't think oddly of me for driving in front of you with blinkers on.
No, but...
Want to make sure that nobody's going to come out and run over your house. Yeah.
Probably a once in a lifetime deal. I don't think I'd come back and do it again next year. Been nice teaming up with Andy. Made it a little more enjoyable. It was just a tough trail. It's a tough event. Really tough. I'm just glad to be done. I'm glad it's all over with. Ready to go home, see my wife, kids.
"15 hours behind the bikers, Tim and Tom marched down Front Street towards the Burled Arch in Nome.
All right, my man. We conquered the Iditaroad. Who
There we
will
go.
they send against us now? 26 days later.
Tim Hewitt later discovers his ankle problems are a stress fracture. He traveled 14 days and 600 miles on his injury.
You know, in looking back at it, was it difficult? Yes, it was very difficult. Was it rewarding? Yes, it was very rewarding. It's a life-changing experience, and not one that I'm likely to repeat, but one that I'm certainly glad that I did.
Everything changes so much up here. It's happened so fast. You have nice weather one moment, and 2 hours later you're in a blizzard, and it really keeps you on your toes. And I guess you got to be prepared for everything. But I guess the main thing is just keep plugging at it. You know, no matter what, everybody's going through the same thing basically.
Before I came away, there was no way that I was going to get on a plane until I got on one at Nome, and I never had a good reason to quit. Quitting because I didn't like the trail, or it was uncomfortable, or because I was tired just isn't good enough. So that's why I got here, because I kept on putting one step in front of another, and if you keep on putting one step in front of another, eventually you arrive.
I had set this as a personal goal, but also because it stands for a lot of what I'm about. I had a lot of support from my family. My wife wanted me to come up here. I had people that were naysayers, but I had as many people or more people that were very positive about it, and it just became important to finish this. And now that I've finished it, I just have a very good feeling, sort of a free feeling, and I'm very proud of the accomplishment. It's different than, you know, obviously my daily activities, where I'm an employment lawyer in Pennsylvania, so I don't get a lot of this kind of thing. But challenges motivate me, and this I saw really as an ultimate challenge, but something that I could do.
Racing is just like taking a trip somewhere. So you're sort of like a traveler, but you're using, you know, the simplest mode of travel available, your foot or whatever. And sort of getting back to the basics, venture racing, it's just what it is an adventure.
I knew I had to get here. It's as simple as that.